Hi everybody, let's talk about tuning. 12 string, the tuning nightmares all the time. Weather, temperature, humidity, all kinds of things, different brands of strings, different gauges of strings, different guitars. I've got 8 different 12 strings here. All of them have their own weird tuning peccadillos. That's a great word, peccadillos, isn't it? So I'm going to go through and just talk about some ideas. And if you have an electronic tuner, you're probably tuning this thing with the electronic tuner, and you're not getting your 12 string in tune. You wonder why doesn't this thing sound right? What happens, every electronic tuner has a little bit of give to it. Like, in other words, you have the center of the pitch, the mathematical center of the pitch. And as the string oscillates, it oscillates on either side of that. And so what happens is as you're tuning, it'll get close enough that it'll give you a proper reading and say, okay, it's in tune. Then, well, a couple of things happen. As you go across the guitar, the changing tension on all the other strings changes that pitch. So when you go back to that string, it's flat or sharp. Or the other thing that happens is when you get the octaves perfectly in tune, they create overtones that then clash with other overtones that are created by octaves on other strings. So it's maddening. It drives you crazy. Leo Kottke, I think he said in interviews, says if you can avoid playing 12 string, do so. But once you get hooked on one, it's like a drug. You're kind of stuck playing one. So I'm going to go through here really quick and just kind of tune with a tuner. And I'll speed this up while I'm talking so you don't have to watch me tune the whole thing. Right? All right. So I've gone through and tuned according to the tuner. Now what we're going to do is let's just play a chord, a D chord. Something is out. The tuner says this is in tune. If I play a G chord, something is out. The tuner, though, says this is in tune. So here's what you have to do. First thing you got to do is you got to check your octaves. I start with the bottom string here, this G note in the third string. That's going to be the same note as the third string octave. There's a slight little difference in pitch there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my G string, my octave, all the way up here at the top. There, now that's perfectly in tune. That works. The tuner missed that slight little bit. The tuner is like built to give you so many cents on either side of the note and count that as correct. If you've ever used a tuner like with your cell phone, which has a whole lot more computing power behind it, and you try to tune with that, you may notice that the needle goes bing, 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 back and forth, and it's really annoying trying to tune with one of those because it's sensing these different oscillations of pitch. And so by checking my octave down here on this G, that octave is in tune. So now we got to go to the next one, the D note here. Now look at this. I'm playing a D, A, B, C, D. Listen to those two notes. The second one is slightly flat. The tuner marks that as in tune. Now if I go back here and tweak that again, okay, I'm looking at the tuner. Okay, I just moved this tuner just barely. But when I went through the first time, that red is in tune. So your tuners really are not all that accurate, unless you're using like a Conn Strobo tuner or something that costs like $1,000 or something. So now those two notes are in tune. Now we're going to test those bottom two notes with the octave of the fourth string, which is also a D. That is slightly off. These bottom ones are slightly sharp. The open string reads as in tune. Now you may note on most of your 12 strings nowadays, most modern ones, there's a little cutout here on the bridge. The B string, usually on most guitars, runs a little bit sharp. And so what they do is they do a little cutout there to kind of set that back a little bit. But even then, on many guitars, that's not quite enough. On this guitar, it's not. This is a wonderful sounding guitar, but this B string is always a bit sharp. When the tuner says it's sharp, when I play the fretted notes, it's always a little off. So sometimes you have to do something like tune the string a little bit flat. We're going to experiment around with this first. What I'm going to do is take this up against that octave, First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the octave up. And you see what I just did? I've been playing 12 string since I was 17. I'm 64. I still reach up here and grab the wrong tuner sometime. It just happens. You feel stupid when you do it. You're sitting there cranking, and the pitch isn't changing, and you're going like, oh no, what did I just do? Okay. Now they're in tune. Now the octave here is flat. Stabilize that one. Now I'm moving this tuner, but it's the needle is staying right on. I'm tuned down one whole step, so the string, the D string, is actually tuned to a C. So now that string is reading in tune. Oh, there goes my dogs. Now with that little bit of flexing, that octave string went sharp. So now I'm going to tune it back down and now check it against my octaves. Now these strings are still a little bit sharp. So now what I've got to do is go to my B string. I'm going to go and lower this down just a tiny bit. I'm going to watch the tuner. Even though the pitch is going down, there we go. Right there's where the tuner just changed to show that was a little bit flat. If I go up just a scotch, it reads. Now, but listen to the difference. This string's a little sharp. I lowered it just that little tiny bit, but the tuner didn't catch it. Now let's check the octaves. Closer. There we go. Now let's check the G string, and I'm going to play an A note. That's going to be the octave on the fifth string. That's pretty close. Now let's go to the fourth string. I'm going to play an E here on the second fret, and that should be the same note as the octave on the top string. Now here's a player D chord. Something's still off there on this third string. Now after doing all that, the bottom string is flat. So there's subtle little changes in pitch of the different strings. Now, after all that, this third string is still a little bit sharp. It's crazy. It drives you crazy. 12 string will drive you nuts. So here's a little trick that I do sometime. What I'll do is I'll loosen up just a tiny little bit. Then what I'll do is I'll take the string, snap it. I kind of bend it up and bring it down. Flattened it a little bit. There we go. It's finally in tune. Put it out of tune again. So You see, the struggle is real. Keeping a 12 string in tune. Some 12 strings play in tune better than others. It's just a fact of the way that they're made. My Guild up there, man, it's a rock. I can tune this thing and I can walk away from it for days and I come back to it and it's still in tune. This one's a little more delicate, and it changes a lot more to the weather and everything. My Alvarez is very stable also. I keep this in tune to a whole step low. This one's a whole step low. That one up there is a half step low. I've got an electric 12 string. It never moves. I mean, I could walk away from it for months and pick it back up, and it's pretty close to being in tune. 12 string banjos, oddly enough, I've got a 12 string banjo. It stays in tune like a rock. So it's just really weird how they do. But you saw some of the tricks I use there. If you're having a problem getting your 12 string in tune and you're using a tuner and it's sounding like it's in tune, well, try that octave trick. Checking the octave, the note below, like a G against the open G string, a D against the open D string, and then check if your third string is still, your second string is still a bit sharp. Try that little snap down trick and see how that works. And eventually you'll get there. It's a pain in the butt, and your ear is a critical factor of this because you can't trust an electronic tuner. If it sounds out of tune to you after you've tuned it with an electronic tuner, guess what? It's still out of tune. You can buy a more expensive tuner, and even the best of tuners still don't do it right. Every tuner has its own, every guitar has its own quirks, and a tuner won't always deal with that effectively. You got to develop your ear. And I could develop mine back in the days of tuning with a tuning fork, so that's where that comes from. So thanks for watching. Comment down below and let me know if you have any expertise that the tricks that you use for getting a 12 string in tune. Let's help our newbie friends here and help them figure out how to get this thing done and get the most out of your 12 string. And remember, if you're not playing a 12 string in tune, you're not making music. You're making anti-music, like anti-gravity, anti-matter. It's playing it. You can't play it out of tune. It never is completely in tune, but you got to get it in tune as much as you can get it in tune. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.